Greetings, fellow time travelers. Welcome back to Treasures of History, where we uncover the hidden mysteries of lost civilizations and dive deep into the secrets that shaped our world. I'm your archaeological guide, ready to take you on another mind-bending journey through the corridors of time. Today's discovery will blow your mind. We're about to unravel one of archaeology's greatest mysteries, the tomb of King Tutankhamun. But here's the twist that will shock you. The hero archaeologist who discovered it might have been running the greatest archaeological heist in history. Before we unveil these incredible revelations, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss the ancient scandals we're about to expose. Picture this. For 3,000 years, one tomb in Egypt remained untouched while countless others were plundered by grave robbers. How did King Tutankhamun's final resting place escape the fate of every other royal tomb in the Valley of the Kings? And more importantly, when it was finally discovered, did all its treasures actually make it to the museum? Here's what will absolutely amaze you. Unlike the massive, grandiose tombs of other pharaohs, Tutankhamun's tomb was surprisingly small and hidden. The entrance was buried under debris from the construction of a nearby tomb, with no writings or signs on the outside to indicate what lay beneath. It was as if the ancient Egyptians wanted this young king's treasures to remain hidden forever. But the puzzling question is, why? Was it protection, or was it something more mysterious? Let's travel back to the scorching Egyptian desert in the early 1920s. The Valley of the Kings has already been explored intensively for decades. Most archaeologists believe there's nothing left to find, but one man refuses to give up. Enter Howard Carter, a determined British archaeologist who has spent his entire life hunting for Egyptian artifacts. Since childhood, Carter was obsessed with ancient Egypt, spending countless hours drawing sculptures and inscriptions from ancient tombs. He wasn't just looking for treasure, or so everyone thought. He was supposedly a true archaeologist dedicated to preserving history. After years of tireless searching, Carter finally stumbles upon the hidden entrance. Imagine the moment, his hands trembling as he clears away the debris, revealing stone steps descending into darkness. He peers through a small opening with a candle, and when asked what he sees, he whispers those famous words that would echo through history. Inside lay an incredible treasure trove, golden thrones, chariots, statues, and the most spectacular funeral mask ever discovered. For the next decade, Carter meticulously documented and processed thousands of objects, carefully sending them down the Nile River to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. Or did he? Now here's where things get absolutely shocking. Recent discoveries have revealed a darker side to our archaeological hero. A secret letter dated 1922 was sent to Sir Alan Gardner, a philologist and close friend of Carter. In this correspondence, Carter mentioned finding the tomb and asked his friend for advice. But wait, it gets more intriguing. In another letter from 1934, Gardner appears to be thanking Carter for an amulet sent as a gift. Carter insisted it didn't come from Tutankhamun's tomb. But here's the mind-blowing part. It absolutely did. Even the British director of the Egyptian Museum was aware of Carter's cunning dealings but couldn't prove it. When he compared Gardner's amulet with others from Tutankhamun's tomb, they matched perfectly. Gardner was so disappointed at being put in such a compromising situation that he confronted Carter in another letter. As a good friend, however, he didn't expose the famous archaeologist. Instead, he advised him to return those stolen objects to Cairo. The secret letters seem to reveal Carter's little policy. For every 10 objects catalogued for Egyptian officials, one would quietly disappear into private collections. This wasn't just a one-time mistake. This was systematic archaeological theft on a grand scale. In 1947, a man named Alfred Lucas, who used to work with the controversial archaeologist, provided information to a little-known Cairo magazine. His claims were explosive, Lucas stated that Carter secretly opened the door to the burial chamber by himself, then sealed it again as if nothing had happened before the official revelation. Why would he do that? The theory suggests Carter and his team may have entered the tomb beforehand to seize some ancient treasures. Obviously, these people couldn't risk such objects being sold while they were still alive, but they made sure they were auctioned after their deaths. Carter never confessed to anything. He never denied it either. But the Egyptian government couldn't risk more mysterious disappearances, so they banned him from entering the tomb for a time. Some have connected this apparent theft with the curse of King Tutankhamun. If you've never heard of it, you should know it became quite a terrifying story shortly after the Pharaoh's resting place was discovered. It was said that anyone who interfered with the young king's tomb would face fatal bad luck. Now, it wasn't that a mummy would attack you directly, but word spread that people involved in disturbing King Tutankhamun's dwelling met mysterious and premature ends. The most untimely death related to this supposed curse was that of George Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon. He was a British aristocrat who helped finance the expedition, and he died barely 1 year after the tomb was opened. People love to consider it a mystery, but here's the truth that will surprise you. Herbert was already quite deteriorated in health when he arrived in Cairo and ended up succumbing to a common illness. Now let's talk numbers, fellow explorers. There were many people connected with opening this tomb: security guards, archaeologists, and support staff. And, certainly, some of them died shortly after the tomb began receiving visitors. But here's what the evidence actually shows. The average life expectancy for those supposedly affected by the ancient curse was more than 20 years after the spell should have taken effect. Herbert's daughter even lived into her 80s, that's half a century later, and Howard Carter himself lived until 1939, about 16 years after the Great Revelation. Some have suggested the curse was nothing more than a careful public relations strategy. Think about it. When Tutankhamun's tomb was found, Howard Carter wanted to keep nosy journalists away. Therefore, he might have invented a curse hanging over anyone who entered the young king's resting place. Clever, isn't it? Now let's uncover what was stolen from Tutankhamun's tomb. According to a French specialist who conducted intensive research and examined old photographs taken inside the tomb in the 20s, several pieces of jewelry vanished. First, there's this necklace that used to rest on the pharaoh's chest. It was broken into pieces, and some parts were sent by Carter to the Nelson Atkins Museum in Missouri. Meanwhile, other fragments ended up in a necklace owned by anonymous individuals who tried to sell it in 2015 but were unsuccessful. Even the Nelson Atkins Museum agrees, as they've confirmed the information on their website. Then there's a headdress. Apparently, some beads from that piece that once belonged to the king were also stolen by Carter. They were then restrung into a necklace and now reside in the St. Louis Art Museum. Another elegant necklace made of glazed ceramic spent some time at the Met far away in New York. Luckily, it was returned to Egypt just over a decade ago. Carter is also supposed to be the one who took it. Despite the lost artifacts, Tutankhamun's tomb offered us a wealth of incredible objects that helped us learn more about this fascinating ancient culture. Starting with the famous funeral mask, it's an imposing work of art made of gold, 53 centimeters tall, adorned with semi-precious stones and glass paste. It weighs 10 kilograms and represents the young pharaoh with a long beard and a headdress featuring a cobra and vulture. On the back is a spell from an important spiritual book of ancient Egypt that's supposed to work in the afterlife as well. Tutankhamun was apparently a board game enthusiast. Archaeologists found 4 board games in his tomb, some made of ivory. These weren't just toys. They were elaborate, beautifully crafted pieces that tell us about leisure activities in ancient Egypt. They also found a pair of golden sandals, though these were more for display than for wearing. In fact, the pharaoh probably never wore them in his life. They were ceremonial pieces, meant for his journey into the afterlife. Speaking of fashion items, Tutankhamun was quite an elegant ruler. They even found a mannequin in his tomb that was used to select, adjust, and store his outfits and jewelry. This tells us that even 3,000 years ago, presentation and appearance mattered to royalty. The young king seems to have enjoyed music as well, as 2 trumpets were found in his tomb. Although they were played in 1939 in a BBC broadcast, today the instruments are considered too fragile to be handled. Imagine, these trumpets are among the oldest playable instruments in existence.
So, fellow time detectives, what have we uncovered today? We've travelled back 3,000 years to witness one of archaeology's greatest discoveries and its greatest controversies. We've seen how Howard Carter, once celebrated as a hero, may have been running a sophisticated theft operation right under everyone's noses. We've debunked the mysterious curse of King Tutankhamun, revealing it as either coincidence or clever public relations. And we've explored the incredible treasures that did survive, from the stunning golden funeral mask to simple board games that connect us across millennia. But here's what I want you to think about. Was Howard Carter a villain who stole from history, or a complex figure who preserved what he could while taking what he thought was his due? In his time, many archaeologists believed they deserved compensation for their discoveries. Does historical context excuse his actions, or does theft remain theft regardless of the era? Share your theories with us in the comments below. Do you think Carter was a hero, a thief, or something in between? What would you have done in his position? And here's another mystery for you. If those stolen artifacts could talk, what stories would they tell? In our next episode, we're traveling to the mysterious temples of the Maya civilization, where recent discoveries using laser technology have revealed entire lost cities hidden beneath the jungle canopy. We'll uncover how the Maya built one of the most advanced civilizations in history, then seemingly vanished into thin air. You absolutely don't want to miss this archaeological breakthrough. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop seeking the treasures of history. This is your archaeological guide, reminding you that the past is never truly buried. It's just waiting for curious minds like yours to uncover it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Treasures of History, and share this incredible story with fellow history lovers. Together we're building a community